Last minute things. Hey, the music off. There. It's because of the music. My computer has a problem doing anything while I'm playing music. I don't know what the freaking deal is. I'm just gonna have to like bring my tablet out here or something and play the music from it and not my computer. I'm just glitchy. I won't be on today because I have a new. Yeah, it was the music. It's still a bit glitchy because I've got about 20 tabs over here on things I want to talk about. Alright. But I thought it would be nice to listen to it and got started, but I guess that's not going to work. Get about it. Lowered this computer. I'm just asking way too much. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that one actually can go away. Does Goose want out? He's over here crying. Does he want out? So I'm waiting to see. How's your day been? Ooh, that does sound tough. Oh, yeah. Biochemistry. What are you going to do? What are you going to be? What are you taking biochemistry? My second daughter started out being a biology major, and then 2 years in, switched it to second education, which I was not happy about. It wasn't my choice. So there you go. Where do you go to school at? Are you Columbia? Oh, she switched it to early early education. Early education. Yeah. Missouri up north, northwest, northwest Mo. Hey, how's your weather down there? You're getting some weather right now, aren't you? Barbie, thank you for coming. I'm kind of glitchy, I guess. But that's because I have like 12 tabs up over here on things I want to talk about. So as I close tabs, it'll probably get steadily better. I was playing music. Computer just couldn't take it. Couldn't take it. Just couldn't take it. How are you faring, honey? Because you're going to get some weather again tonight. About that too. You are friend. You and Sarah both. She's always at my things too. Sarah is Satan loves you. Okay, she told you. Yeah. Yeah, yucky weather, and everybody's stuck indoors with each other and about to wring each other's neck. We'll wait a couple more minutes before I get started. If anybody else. So did you see my TikTok I put out? Either one of you? Well, I know Sarah didn't because she was already here when I was putting it out. I know. I've been there, girl. I know. I truly do know. Well, Sarah, you were while I was sitting here waiting. So you probably didn't see it. I didn't know if Melissa did, though. If Barbie did. Away from home are you while you're at college? That's true. That's true. Oh, at home. 3rd thing. I spoke to my cousin last night. He lives in Rockwall, Texas. That's the Dallas-Fort Worth area. She had not lost power yet. So, everywhere, it's not 100%. And then she texted me today that I think the thing was something like 7 million. Am I breaking up really bad? And today 4 million had lost 7.5 million for me. So that's almost half of that's a lot of freaking people who don't know nothing about being old. Ah, that's good. That's good. Is my voice too low? Is that any better? If I minimize the screen, if it would help get rid of that. It was kind of that way last Sunday. Not near as bad. I didn't have all these tabs of the screen going. So yeah, that stinks. So Rainbow Witch. Hey, Derry. Derry's here. At least my friends all came. Derry, did you see the TikTok or did you see the Facebook? And how is your weather down there? Up there? Over? Whichever direction. Hey, Nick. I had posted a link to the podcast on my Facebook. Are we friends on Facebook, Sarah? If we're not, look me up, girly girl. Is and then I'll just look at the time. It's on computers now. Instagram, but I don't know. Oh, see, and I'm never on Instagram. It's enough to do TikTok and do YouTube and do Facebook. Sometimes I'm on Snapchat, Instagram. I never think it's great. All right, what do I close this window? Okay, help at all. It's not any better now that I've closed everything out. Sharing. I'll even turn that screen off. Is it any better now? I think it's better. Hey! Thank you for popping in. We haven't even really got started yet. I've been kind of working through the kinks. Evidently, my computer doesn't like it when I ask it to do too much. My son said I needed a bigger processor. It really wasn't too awful expensive. I don't have it right now, but something to think about. Just your playback to the high settings of 2. Yeah. Well, and last Sunday it wasn't perfect. But I wasn't trying to show another screen, so we'll through it. I know. Thank you. I appreciate that. So we know Combat Barbie's experiencing some shitty weather. And Derry, you probably are too. Nick, you haven't gotten much snow or anything, but you did get tornadoes. Sarah got some snow down in New Mexico. So things are kind of crazy. There's a reason things are kind of crazy. And I wanted to show you, I actually did a video, and I was interesting because I went to bring it up and I had it in one of those tabs. I did a video a year ago today on YouTube about the Grand Solar Minimum. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard of the Grand Solar Minimum. Well, she has been for a minute. She's been off her meds for a couple of years, actually, and it's going to progressively get worse and worse. And I did quite a few videos regarding it, but this video in particular, and I'm going to cut out a little bit, but I want to show you the thumbnail of that video, because I want, if you have not ever heard of the Grand Solar Minimum, this video I made a year ago, that's what it's about. And it explains everything about what we have to expect. And looking back from a year ago, things are starting by this crazy shit that's going on in Texas. And the pandemic was a perfect storm, and I get that. But Grand Solar Minimums are pandemics as well. So let me bring, let's see, go videos. So let me bring it up for you. Let me share my screen. Well, I don't know what happened. It's a good idea, Nick. It really is. There we are. There we are. This is the beginning of it. I want to get to the title page, though, and then I'll stop it because that's the thumbnail. Some goes through cycles. One second. Fast forward. And anyway, we'll play till it gets where I want it. We're going to talk about apartments, Sarah. Got a list. And, you know, you look at these guys off-grid and all the crap that's going on, they've barely noticed. And even though I am not off-grid, when this pandemic went down, I barely noticed. My life was not affected. What an intro. Now, we don't need to worry about an update, but that is a possibility with solar minimums. Because we had so few, there were few to little to none sunspots on the sun. Okay, that's activity on the sun. Hush, people. There we go. That's where I wanted to stop. Look for this thumbnail. It's a 17-minute video. It's going to tell you everything you need to know about a solar minimum. You need to watch this because we are everything that's happening in Texas, part of the nation. All the floods we had 2 years ago that wiped out all of our crops. The sun that have been so freaking hot, and the droughts. I'm gonna shut this off tonight. Maybe. Let me remove that. That's why the shit's going on. And what a solar minimum is basically is there's little to no sunspots on the sun during a cycle. Last year there were only 116. That is very, very few, and very few Earth. NASA, and I was going to bring this tab up, but I can't because my computer sucks. NASA is predicting solar cycle 25 to possibly be the complete opposite of 24. And the solar activity to be off the charts, which means we have a greater possibility of solar storms and solar storms hitting us, which, if you go in and look at your Schumann resonance for the last couple of months, those have been off the charts. Schumann resonance is a flag for electromagnetic activity in the earth. It's the earth's heartbeat. And that comes from the sun and the gamma rays that come from the sun. It's off charts. Storms are off the charts. Also a Schumann resonance. I never can say that freaking name. Anyway, my point, you need to look all this up. My point is earthquake activity is up. Also, a possible result, resonance. In fact, they're looking into using the Schumann as a tracker for a pre-warning system to earthquakes because they're seeing a link. All of this is ramping up. The pandemic, that's all part of it. That's all part of it. I have to shut people up. So, even though we went through what we went through with the pandemic, and everybody went bananas over the damn toilet paper, nobody learned anything. Nobody seems to get it. And every time, even remotely, do a TikTok about it, man, the backlash I get is bananas. Well, yeah, because another tab that I had up that I can't show because my computer sucks. The new Madrid is got a 60% chance of going off at an M6 or higher between now and 2030. Actually, I think it was between 2003 and 2030 was the predictor. We're at 2021. And the thing about the new Madrid, yeah, you're going to shake. You know, anything over a 6. Really? Well, so with magnitudes, you guys get a lot of activity down at the new Madrid. A lot of activity. But it's usually, yeah, I know you do. It's usually very low magnitudes. 1s, 2s, every once in a while, down in Tennessee, they'll get some 3s, which you barely feel. Maybe those people that are living right on top of but I don't know if you would. It's not. However, when you get up into the 4s and 5s, then, you know, it just grows out and you start feeling it. When you get up into the 6s and 7s, then you're looking at damage. And although something, and this is speaking for the new Madrid only, would damage many buildings, what you guys really need to worry about is location. And I hope I said that right. And I think, actually, Barbie, you touched on this possibly in a live. I did not. It's liquid sand. You're going to be having buildings sinking. You're going to be having homes sinking. This is, and it was all from back, when was it, 1910? Or was it 18? Moved? Yeah. So that's what you have to worry about. The San Andreas has a 50% chance of an M6 or higher in the next 50 years. That is due to the oceans rising. It's not so much sinking. The ocean is rising around it. The water table is rising. That's what's happening to Florida. That is what's going to happen to a lot of our coast. All of our coast, west coast, doesn't make any difference. Because the fact of the matter is, due to this solar minimum, the poles are currently in an active shift right now. The poles are moving. Actually, we have like 2 North Poles at the moment, if you want to get technical. Well, that's because the water table is rising. And you know what that does. I mean, when you think about it, I don't know if you've ever dug for a well or if you've ever dug for water. When that water table's high, the ground just disintegrates. It sinks. It just dissolves. So as that water table rises, Florida, yeah, that is exactly what's happening. Yeah, I think it was 1810. I can't remember if it was 1810 or 1910, but I think it was 1810. Yes, yes. So, and these are all acts of nature. These are normal freaking things that our Earth does. This thing that's happening down in Texas right now, and you down there, Melissa, this is normal shit. That happens all the time. This is the cycle the Earth goes to. Hey, fuck, I don't know. How are you doing? Fuck, I don't know. I'm glad you joined us. I have lived here in the Central States my whole life. In the middle. In the damn middle. Okay? Tornado alley, usually. So we have always dealt with tornadoes. And, you don't know. You don't know when that sucker's going to come through town. Yeah, that's a very high possibility. That's a very high possibility. Yeah. It sure is. That those southern towns, these are things the news doesn't talk about. The news doesn't show you the homes that are falling into the fucking ocean. They don't show you that shit. You don't get to see, even right now, you're not seeing what's happening to the majority of Texas. Do you know Hurricane Michael? Do you know that there were people still down there living in tents with no running water a year later? A year later. Yes. Because I was watching them on YouTube. I was watching the people who were going down there helping. Yeah, over Michael. Yeah, horrible. Still living in tents with no running water. FEMA complexes sitting there, abandoned, with 12-foot, 8 to 12-foot fences around them, with trailers like semi-truck trailers parked in the parking lots. Don't know if anything was in them or not. Nobody was getting in there. Nobody was in there helping nobody. They were just sitting there. Now, this is not because they don't want to help, okay? It's not because they don't want to help. Just like right now in Texas, it's not because they don't want to help. They freaking can't. The fact of the matter is, our federal governments and our state governments have the same mindset as the majority of the people who live in this country. And that is, oh, I've got 3 gallons of water in the closet or downstairs in the basement, and I've got a freezer full of meat, and I've got this or that, and we're fine. And no, you're not fine. There are so many things you're missing out. And that's what our government is like. They've got all these things, and they come out with a bang, and next thing you know, there's way more than they can freaking do. And next thing you know, they're shutting the gate, padlocking it, bugging out. Nobody's getting shit. That's what happens. You don't see that on the news. But you do see that on places like TikTok, and you see that on places like YouTube, because those are where the real people are showing it. There's real things happening out there, and not just in our country. It isn't just us. And that's the other thing you don't see. Everybody, the whole planet is self-destructing. And not physically, but just, all the governments and all this way of life. Denied all help? Oh, well, that's helpful. That would explain the FEMA complex being closed. Why? I don't know. So I hope that each and every one of you do it at least a little bit. Here is the other thing. And I've actually just started. I haven't done a prepper video since March of last year. That was the last time I did a prepper video. Everybody thought I was bananas. And you can go back and see where I was saying exactly what was going to go down. And I was wrong in that they did not close the gas stations. They did not go to that martial law level. But I was right about the rest of it. I called it straight up. You go back and look. Yeah, I hope your way of life is. But the majority of people, that's not their way of life. That's not their way of life at all. The majority of people, yes. I was talking to my cousin last night, and she is, I'll say she's well off, okay. Complete disconnect to what was happening even in her own state. Because like I said, she lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and hadn't lost power yet. Hadn't lost power yet. Yep, there you go. Nick, that exactly. And I truly do think that it's not because they don't want to. They bite off more than they can chew. They're not prepared. They're not prepared at all. Did you guys hear of the, where's my little tablet? Because I did have my tabs written down. Did you guys hear about the SolarWinds breach? SolarWinds breach. Happened back in December. And Nick, you're kind of a techie, I think. You may have heard about it. The largest hack in the history of the United States. Evidently, this company by the name of SolarWinds supplies a lot of software, applications, whatever, to not only various companies, but a lot of government offices. Not mine, but evidently a lot. I think federal government offices. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Yes. That was a big thing. You and I heard about it. Melissa, Sarah, did you hear about it? I bet you didn't. I'm not going to put that shit. I downloaded the PDF that they put out in, it was either 2016 or 2017, when the National Defense Agency, Trump, auditing our national security as far as technical, as far as the world, the web, our energy grid, all of those things that are ran by computers. And they told him in that report, and you can just Google it. Is it Department of Homeland Security, maybe? DHS PDF to Trump on national security, and I bet you'll find it. Because they had to make it public. Of course, they didn't make it public that they made it public. And had I not been a prepper and been, networking with other people who are preppers, I would have never known and not gone and gotten it. But they told Trump then, dude, we're screwed. We are screwed, tattooed. And then the solar winds thing happened, and, now Biden's all, woo, we got to do something, y'all. Dude, we need to do something 2 years ago. Yeah, it's a big freaking deal. And, that's not the only jab we've got lately. That is not the only jab at all. We've got quite a few jabs. And they've been harmless jabs, but you know what they are? They're tests. They're going in and seeing, how far can I get? How far can I get? That's what they're doing. And it's just a matter of time. And we don't have our shit together by any way, shape, or form. And for people to blatantly ignore it, it's beyond me. And I know it's hard. And Sarah, you said you lived in an apartment. I know it's hard, but you still can do things, okay? You can. Look at my glasses, made a mark on my head. You just got to start. You just got to start somewhere. So, 2016 or so, FEMA was saying, you need to have 3 days supply stocked up for your family. Then a year or so later, it went to 3 weeks. Now, you go on there and they want you to do 3 months. Okay? Because things have happened. Things have happened, and they understand, holy crap, we cannot do this. People need to start taking care of themselves. And, there's a lot of people who live in RVs now because they call it the mobile homeless. Because they're not technically homeless. They have a roof over their head. They're living in their cars. They're living in their RVs. And some are doing it purposefully. Some are getting rid of their homes and moving into RVs. And there's no space. So what do you do? What do you do? There's all kinds of things you can do. And doing something is better than not doing anything. Start with water. Because here's the thing about water. It takes up the most space to store. Water is the hardest thing to store. I would in a heartbeat, but Papa would never, so it isn't going to happen. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. No partner, no kids. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No reason not to then. And you know what? RVs can be groovy. I mean, they can be pretty nice. You can fix them up pretty well. But people are doing this purposefully because they don't have choice. They lost their jobs due to COVID. They've maybe lost their good job, still have a job, but now they're making half of what they used to make. There's all kinds of reasons. And there's no room. And water, it takes up the most space to store. And if you live in an apartment, it's even worse because you don't have a yard. Because here is the thing. If you have a small space, you don't have a basement, a cracker jack house like my daughter used to live in. Or you're in an RV, but maybe you can do things with the ground. Don't forget you can bury shit. Okay? You can bury stuff in coolers. You can build a box. What's a post park? Or did you mean most parks? And I was not aware of that because everywhere around me costs money and you can only stay there 30 days and then you can move to a different spot, but you have to move. That's the only ones I'm aware of. But you know what? If you're lucky enough to be able to buy 5 acres or just a spot anywhere to stick your RV on. Dig a hole in the ground. Yeah, okay, most parks. Well, that's good to know. So look for that. I wasn't aware of that. None of the ones around me are that way. But you can bury things in the ground. So that solves a lot of your storage problem. Not to mention, it'll keep it like a cellar. I mean, that's where they kept their veggies. That's a root cellar. There's nothing but a hole in the ground with some rocks on the wall. If you can, and you know what, you can garden inside as much as you can outside. National parks have non-zoned areas. Huh, I will. That's interesting. So there you go. But water is going to be your biggest thing. So start there. You know what? Put it at the bottom of your closet and set your shoes on it. Stick them under your bed. Just anywhere. Anywhere. Stack them in the corner. Drape a pretty, a pretty scarf or something over it and make it an end table. Okay? These are things you can do. So water is going to be your first priority. So food is going to be your second. And with your apartment living, you've got a little bit more room here because you do have cabinets. And RV does have cabinets. Yeah. Plant them their own. Plant them some catnip. Dang, well, that's pretty good. That's not bad. That's the higher end. That means it's probably got sewage and electricity. But food, you've got a little bit more leeway because you've got cabinet spaces. And the fact of the matter is, here's what I did, okay? When I was building my 1 year, last year, we started a 1 year to 1 year worth of food. And I had a list. And every time I went to the store, I bought something off this list. Okay? And every week had something different to buy. And I bought those things. Now, if you're not one that's going to eat beans, then don't buy beans. Don't buy things you're not going to eat. Switch it out for something comparable that you'll eat. Buy two. I oftentimes with Spam and things like that. I like Spam. I love it. My son loves it. Yeah, you can. If you're worried about people, yeah, you're really getting into the prepping. I'm speaking to the beginners. We haven't gone into how to protect your stash yet. But you can do anything. I mean, there are places, when people get on and they post comments to me about, I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm sorry. You can. You can do something. If you like Spam, buy 2 cans instead of 1. You don't have to, what I was doing was only spending maybe an average of $10 to $20 extra each shopping trip. So it wasn't like I was forking. I don't have loads of money. So it wasn't like I was forking loads of money into building my preps. I was only spending an average of $10 to $20. But a freaking 10-pound bag of rice is like less than $5. That's a lot of freaking rice. You could do a lot with rice. You can do a ton with rice. Rice is carbs, and rice is calories, and it fills your stomach. And that's what you're going to need. Because that's the other thing here. Well, I'm vegan, and that's groovy. Or I'm keto. That's also groovy. But honey, if shit hits the fan, ain't nobody going to be nothing but hungry. And I guarantee you ain't going to worry about being keto. Windowsill gardening. Absolutely. Absolutely. You need carbs because you're going to be working for your dinner. You're not going to be sitting in your lazy boy waiting for the honey to cook dinner so you can eat. You're going to have worked for that dinner. And you're going to have to work for your breakfast. And you're going to have to work for everything. You need carbs. You need energy. You may have to stay warm. Okay? I do, though, always tell beginner preppers, though, to be careful. That video is also listed on my YouTube. I have a Facebook page called Nana Preps. With 2 P's, Nana Preps. You could scroll down it and find it because I actually posted, I think, a PDF that you can download. And I really haven't been on it much, so you may not have to post all that far or scroll all that far. But it's 1 year to 1 year's worth of food. Super easy thing. But back to what I do. And dehydrating is great. And that's what I'm getting into. Rice, beans, dehydrating. Yes, you need to do that. Dehydrating takes up a lot less space than canning. But remember, it takes water to make that food edible again. Water might be a precious commodity. So if you go in to buy these 72-hour kits and all these things with these freeze-dried foods and things, that's great. But remember, it takes water to make those things. And do your research on those kits. There are a lot of companies that are really good, but make sure you are really looking into the calories that are in that food. Some of these companies are selling kits for 4 people and only allowing like 600 to 800 calories per person. And honey, that ain't gonna do it. That is not gonna do it. You're gonna need minimum 12 to 1500 a day, and that's low. When you really have to start working for a living, literally, you're more looking like 25 to 3,000 calories a day. I have a well that's only gone dry once. So that's how I water my animals, is with that well. So I have a water source. Now, what if that water source gets tainted? That doesn't mean I ignore having the water. I've got some water downstairs. I will admit I do not have enough, but I do have some down there. Because, you never know what's going to happen. Something could taint the groundwater. So this is what I say to people. Yeah, it sounds crazy. Chances of it happening, probably pretty small. But there's a lot of people right now freezing in Texas. Freezing, literally. Freezing in Texas, looking at their living rooms because the upstairs has fallen down. I know you all seen the TikToks. They never thought that shit was going to happen. Now, there's not much they could have done about that. But, you got people. What was this one lady I saw? She was tearing her dining room chairs apart so she could burn them. So, you may not think it's going to happen, but that doesn't mean you ignore it. Okay? What was it I saw the other day? You have a paddock of horses, and the gate gets left open, and one of the horses escape. Do you, 1, shut the gates so none of the other horses escape? Or do you just leave the gate open because, fuck it, you've already lost one horse? That's a perfect example of this thought process that these people have. And it's I can't seem to get anybody to change their mind about it. Even those that told me when the pandemic when it finally became clear, I had a lot of people come to me and say, wow, you're not so crazy. Even now, those same people are saying, oh, okay, whatever. So you start with water. That's your biggest thing. We talked about that, and I'm trying to keep up with you. Hydroponics. Hydroponics is great. Hydroponics does require energy, though, because the water does have to circulate. So as long as you set yourself up for a renewable source of energy, and my suggestion for that is don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yes, we're going to get into that, Sarah. You need solar, you need wind, and if you can, a generator too. You need all three to cover your butt, because that water's got to flow. And yeah, what you need is a tilapia tank. Now you've got another meat source. A tilapia tank, and that water filters through that tilapia tank, waters your garden, comes back around. By the time it comes back around, it's completely clean and going back into your tilapia tank. Systems are extremely simple. Like turbines, yeah. Yeah. So water, food, even if it's just rice, it's food. Okay? Food that doesn't need to be cooked. Okay? Canned food. Raviolis. Yes, it's horrible food. Horrible food. Who cares? You're freaking living. You're trying to survive. So things that you can open the can and eat it. Think about those things. Canned stew, canned soups, ravioli, all of those kinds of things. You can even get bread in a can. It makes some kind of spiced bread or pumpkin bread that comes in a can. Rice and beans are great, but don't forget about the water situation. I can a lot of my beans already cooked. I do have dry beans and dry rice downstairs, and I don't can any rice, but I do can beans so that I have Vienna sausages. Yes, meat. You can get canned meat. Does it suck? Fuck yeah, it sucks. But it also sucks to starve to death. But to me, that sucks worse. Sourdough bread. Sourdough has to be kept cool in the refrigerator. So, you got to think about that. If you've got a renewable source of energy where you're going to be able to keep something like a refrigerator going, absolutely, because then you don't have to worry about yeast. Absolutely, because making yeast from the wild sucks balls. It's hard. I've tried to do it. And candles let off a lot of heat for bathrooms and small spaces. That not so old crone gave a great tip I duetted about candles in the bathroom. They do let off a lot of heat. So you're going to do food and you're going to do water. The next thing I want you to worry about is hygiene. Hygiene can become a real killer in a off-grid SHTF situation if you're not prepared for it. You're going to keep shitting. You're going to keep pissing. People are going to get hurt and possibly bleed everywhere. People are going to get sick because they're going to eat something bad. You're going to puke everywhere. You possibly will get a cold or just get sick. So hygiene has got to be right up there with food and water. Okay? You need to... Alcohol's fine, but buy vodka. Buy Everclear. Buy vodka, Everclear, grain, whatever. Buy that. Epsom salts. Okay. Now, here's the thing about Epsom salts. You'll have to store those with moisture packets. Put them in the 5-gallon buckets with the lids and put moisture packets on it. Okay. Don't worry about it getting gross. You can get it for like 97 cents a gallon at the Walmart. You leave it sealed. You never open it. You stick it in your closet. Or you buy the 30 packs. That's what I buy. That's what I buy those every week, 2 or 3 of them, because we don't drink out of our tap. Buy those. Don't open them up. Don't break the seal. You'll be fine. If you've got the ground to do that, that's fine. But if you live in an apartment, you don't have that. I mean, yeah, because a 5-gallon bucket will take you a long way when it comes to hygiene. Toilet seat fits right over. You can dig a hole. Papa worked constructions for years, and he can tell you about being out in the sticks and having to go number 2. You can do it, okay? But if you're in an apartment in the city, you can't do it. You can't go outside and do that. So you got a way to dispose it. Now, the Not So Crone as well had another great tip, and that was to fill your bathtub or your toilet and your tank. If it's winter, like they're having in Texas right now, a lot of them have lost water because of the power problem. Snow, and it'll melt. Put that candle in there and it'll melt. You can, if you live in the city and in an apartment, pay attention to water sources. Are there fountains close? Is there a pond or a park with a pond or a lake? Is there a creek? See what's in walking distance, okay? Also keep in mind, anybody else with have a brain is going to be thinking about this too. But if you have, you get a kid's pull-along trailer and a 5-gallon bucket of water, and you can flush your toilet. Okay? You can flush your toilet with things like that and save the good water for drinking and food. Yeah, heck yeah. So those of us, you're in the desert, okay, but what plants around you hold water? There are cactuses that hold water. You need to research that out. Okay? Also, don't forget about condensation. Do you have a deck? You've got to think. You've got to think in case, hopefully you're going to store water. Aloe vera, I don't know how you would get water out of an aloe vera, but I know those tall, is it saguaros? Is it that cactus? The saguaro cactuses? They hold water. A lot of times, get you some dowsing rods. Walk around. There may be water under your feet. Pay attention to the landscape. Where are the weeds growing? Why are the weeds growing there? Is there an external water source that's causing those weeds to grow there? And if not, they're getting water from underneath. Okay, well, then storing water is going to be a big deal. And finding an alternative water source is going to be a big deal. Hygiene, so we've covered hygiene. Right up there with food and water, okay? Medical supplies, right in there with hygiene. You need to get the alcohol. Don't worry about buying alcohol. Go buy booze. Because not only is that going to help you medically, it'll be a barter if you have to trade for something you need. True. Watermelons. Most melons are full of water. Very true. And cucumbers are easy to grow. They grow right up your window. So, that also gives you something you can barter with as well. in case you run out of something and need something. Don't forget your basic meds. Don't forget your antibacterial creams, your bandages. First aid that shit up. If you've got a friend that is an EMS worker or EMT, a nurse, they are the ones to talk to. Because sometimes they'll be like, oh, hey, here's the thing, they upgrade their stuff all the time, okay? And they'll throw it away. You can get entire freaking first aid kits from them. And it has all the shit in it. So if you know somebody like that, that's great. Vodka is fine. Vodka is fine. Try a terrarium. You can grow a bush. Even better, there was a lady on TikTok that was growing inside a dog crate, the kind that are like cages, because her cats were fucking with her stuff. Yes, exactly. If you know somebody, hit them up, okay? So first aid, hygiene, needles, yeah, needles, because even if you don't use them, they could be a good trade. Somebody may need them. Batteries, that is another thing that is super, doesn't take a lot of room to store, and you should store them. Now, my suggestion, and they're very inexpensive, they're very inexpensive. They're little solar battery packs that you can charge your phone or run your, they're like 40, 50 bucks. Little solar battery pack. It'll run your laptop for an hour or two. It'll charge your phone. It'll charge a flashlight. Look into that. Look, always keep your mind towards, how am I going to replace it? How am I going to renew it? When I run out of this, what am I going to do? There was a guy I was having an argument when what happens if it floods? Hey, you got to have a plan. You got to think. Yeah, they do have cheap batteries. The thing about batteries, regular batteries, is they don't last forever. And they're not renewable. I would definitely have some, but look into the solar battery pack. It's just like those battery pack chargers that you can charge a car with, but they're not for that. They're to charge your phone, run your laptop for a minute, things like that. Hand crank flashlights, definitely a deal. Okay. You got to think about, what if there's no water? What if there's no power? First, those are the first things that need to come to your mind. What if there's no water? What if there's no power? What if it's summer? What if it's winter? If you just break it down to those 4 basic scenarios, not worrying about what happened, just shit hits the fan in general. What if there's no water? What if there's no power? What if it's summer? What if it's winter? If you can just break things down and start there, it will get you everywhere as far as starting out prepping. Because then you'll think, okay, it's summer. I don't have power. It's 500 degrees. I don't have water. I live in New Mexico and don't have a readily available water source. You've gone that far already in preparing for a multitude of disaster situations. Already, just by doing that simple thing. So, in an apartment, you can do on the floor of your closet, set your shoes on it. Put it on the shelf above your closet, sit the shit on it. Put it under your bed. You know, manual items are super and very expensive, as I have learned, because I've wanted to replace the majority of my appliances with manual items, and they are more expensive than the electrical ones. I actually came across a YouTube of a guy who shows you how to convert your KitchenAid mixer into a manual unit, and he learned it from the Amish. Which brings me to my next point. If you have Amish in your area, befriend them. Go to their stores, watch what they do. Watch how they do things. They're friendly people. They're just like you and me. They really are. They are just like you and me. You know, there's some that are real staunch and kind of hard to get to know. But the majority of them are just like you and me. And they will sit and have a conversation with you just like we're having right now. They will. So, they'll tell you, oh, heck, I can tell you how we do that. And really, nowadays, they do use electricity for some things. I know. Me too. Me too. Amber, I love our Amish. I go to their store all the time. I support them any chance I get. What if all three of the federal grids got knocked down? Yeah, I did a video about that a couple of years ago, Nick. Absolutely, because here's the thing about those grids, and you know, this is what we're seeing. This is what we're seeing. And then when you talk about this solar winds breach, this is exactly what I was talking about in my video a couple of years ago. We have three power stations basically. Texas being one of them. They're private. And here's the thing: if those get blown up, or something happens to them physically, we don't make the parts to fix them here in the United States. So here's a scenario: if we get hit by a solar flare, okay, and it blows the shit out of everything, okay, boats aren't going to be running, nothing's going to be running, planes aren't going to be running, nothing is going to be running, and we don't make the parts to fix these things here in the United States. So even if, and I learned this from that report that they wrote to Trump, even if everything was groovy otherwise, and we were able to contact, I believe it's Germany, for the parts to our power stations, you're looking at 8 months. You're looking at 18 months. So that means you're going to have to survive for 18 months until the power gets back on. So even if these, you know, even if we're not talking about Mad Max scenarios, the apocalypse, the chance of that happening is like nearly zero. Not completely zero, but nearly zero. When the tornado hit Sedalia, was it Sedalia? It was 3 weeks. 3 weeks before the first store was able to open and serve the people. 3 weeks. You had to survive 3 weeks. You either bugged out, or you were like me and would have just stood right there and waited, because I'm fine for 3 weeks anyway. Yeah. 3 weeks before the first store even opened, before anything was able to even get in there. So that's what people don't seem to keep in mind. Seed Savers. Check them out. I think they also Baker Creek. That's where I buy my seeds. You can buy quite a few seeds in bulk through them. Baker Creek is no shipping on anything. You could buy a $3 pack of seeds and they'll send it to you with no shipping. In fact, oh, here, I'm covering it. That's my whole seed catalog. That's my whole seed catalog. The world's largest seed catalog. Everything. Everything. And you can get a lot of it in bulk. Yeah. Seed savers, though, you want to make sure you're buying heirloom varieties. That way you can save seeds. Baker Creek. Hang on, let me find the website. I'm sure the website's on here somewhere. Charlotte it is. Hang on. Okay. Here is their website. Rare Seeds, RARESEEDS.com. And here is the neat thing, and it's Baker Creek, Heirloom Seed Company is what it is. Because they're out of Mansfield, Missouri. They're out of Mansfield, Missouri. And the thing that I like about them is you can buy seeds that match where you live. You know, they will tell you, hey, this seed is from a strain from the, 1700s when Farmer Joe in Missouri brought them over from Pennsylvania and started growing them and making these seeds. And they grow really well in North Missouri. That's the type of info you get here. That's why I like it. And they're free shipping. So, but there's also Seed Savers. I don't know if they've got free shipping, but did you screenshot the link? Man, if you got your own land and can do a greenhouse, I want to do a greenhouse so bad, but I keep having to build bird cages. My money can only go so far. I've got to build a quail run this spring. Yeah, make sure you dry them. Keep them in. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Parchment paper. You can make little parchment paper envelopes. Or that meat paper, the paper that you wrap meat in. That's good. Newspaper, maybe, if it doesn't have a lot of, it's got a lot of ink on it. That ink comes off, so newspaper might not be a good idea. Yeah, greenhouse is a definite. But even weather like -30, unless you've got that heated, you can't grow anything in it. It's still seasonal. It extends your season, which, well, there's Robbie on the table. It's not supposed to be. You can extend your season, which in Missouri is becoming quite necessary. Quite necessary. Do you have it up already? Do you have it up and already built? My worry is that they just aren't very good, because I had a greenhouse like that too. And the first major windstorm that came through here in the spring, and it was down. It was gone. It couldn't withstand it. So when I was eating Max's macaroni and cheese. So I want to do 2x4s, 2x4 frame with the clear panels, the clear, they're ridge panels. That's what I want to do. Planting again some. Oh, yeah. Of wind, we get horrible wind up here. Every spring and every fall. He is so old. He is 13 years old. He is so old. Greenhouse, so will extend your growing season, which is becoming more and more necessary. And that extends what you can grow. You can grow a lot of more warmer season crops, long season crops like gourds, and things like that take that long season. That opens you up to a lot. That is what I'm finding, the extreme heat. I'm finding that it stays so cold, I can't get things like my tomatoes out. I get them out. I've got about 3 weeks of great weather, and then the heat comes in, and tomatoes won't bloom if they're too hot. So, yeah, that's the trouble I've been having. And I physically am finding it hard to garden. So, last year I kind of played around with the hay bale gardening, and I really liked it. And this year, I would like to move forward with that. It's hard for me to bend over. It's hard for me to bend down. Hard for me to do things like weed. So I did grow loofahs. I've got a whole bushel of them in the back room because I use them for everything. I've got them here in my sink. I scrub my dishes with them. I've got them in the bathtub because I loofah with them. I use them for everything. I tried the 5-gallon bucket thing, and I found it hard to keep it watered. They dried out too fast. Yeah, so they dried out too fast. Because, when it gets in the dead of the winter, you've got to watch the well, because especially when we get into the drought season, the year that I had all the tomatoes, okay, Papa had built an irrigation system, and still didn't have as many as I should have had, but I did have some. But he built an irrigation system, and we ran the well dry. So that sucked. Because that's how I water my animals every day. So gardening for me is a challenge. It's a super challenge, which is why I buy fresh and can, or frozen and can. Yeah, I don't use those things because I just don't. I organic garden. I deal with it. But yeah, you would want to stock up on things like that or learn other things. I did find that the Dawn dish soap did kill the pumpkin squash bugs it killed them on contact. The problem was I had to go out there every day and spray them, because what it didn't do was keep them off. It killed the ones that were on there, and the new ones just came on there. The ones that didn't die are still there. So, but if you're home, if I had been home and not working, I would have fucking went out there every day and I don't care. So, but it does work. Worked like a charm on those squash bugs. I had a hell of a time with them damn. I lost my whole crop of squash last year to them because I couldn't keep up with them and I wasn't going to spray them. May have to rethink that this year if I want to get anything out of them. Squash is a good thing to grow because you can use that for a ton of shit. It's easy to grow. You usually always get something if you can keep up with the bugs. It goes in soup. You can make a pie. You can make bread. You can do all kinds of shit with the squash. So yeah, if you can grow a squash, that's great. Neem oil, yep. I have heard of the neem oil. And add cayenne pepper to it. I haven't heard that. I do plant marigolds and flowers, and they work a little bit, but they definitely don't work a ton. Okay? I think they help. I do think they help, but they don't work a ton. But I did do the whole marigold thing. Here's another thing. Are you buying books? Buy books, because you may lose the internet. Right now you can get on and look up how to do anything, and that's great. And let me show you what I've done with that over the years. Let me move these over here. I'll show you those in a minute. Oh, where is it? Here we go. This is my book. This is how thick my book is. Okay? This is years of research. I have a section on bees. If you're able to keep bees, you want to get bees. Gardening, livestock, bushcraft, foraging, recipes, canning, medicines, specifically identification. I think I've even got some soap, butchering. Although I'm not real picky about butchering. It don't gotta look pretty. It's gotta be able to cook. Radio frequencies. I have a mobile ham unit. I don't get on it. I do not have my ham license. Only because I have not ever taken the time. Shit hits the fan, nobody's gonna fucking be coming at you for being on it anyway. But I know what my sheriff's doing. Which is why I have it. It's the only frequency I have tuned in is my sheriff. Now, there's various reasons for that. But anyway, this has got all kinds of stuff. How to make hardtack. You should make some hardtack. There's no reason, but look at that. All that stuff I have printed off the internet. Because I wanted to know it. Okay? I can't afford to buy a book about every one fucking thing. So I went on and I found the information I needed and I printed it. And I put it in my book. So now it's there for if something happens and I lose the internet. Now, my mobile ham unit cost me $25. $25 from Amazon. Okay? I'm going to go get it and show it to you. It's right over here. Okay? It's a Baofeng. It costs $25. Okay? I have it tuned into my sheriff's office. Now, I do have the frequencies that I can tune in my state, please. I have everybody's frequencies. I can tune in everybody. And I can go in and program that to scan, but I really don't care. What I care about is what's my sheriff doing. Because they are going to play a big part in what happens in your county. Okay? So it is like a proper scrapbook. It is. So I want to know what he's doing. And I have his private frequency and I have his regular frequency. Now, I also work in that line of work. So it also tells me sometimes I have to work in the morning because of what happens on the radio. But, I mean, that's not the reason I have it. Because I really don't give a shit about that. I listen to that all day. Shit hits the fan, I want to know. What are they doing? Where are they going? What are they, where are they sending the resources? That's what I want to know. So, $25. 25 freaking bucks. And you can get the frequencies right online. They're public. And you just put them in and you know what the hell's going on. And that's, that's the whole other reason to have that solar generator. Because this will need to be charged. Okay? And for another 10 bucks or so, 10 or 20 bucks, I can get a bigger antenna and possibly get some of the surrounding larger towns that have larger police departments that will also be, enacting various things during an emergency. You know what? Not so much anymore. Years ago when I was a dispatcher, which was 13 years ago or more, they were already, after 9/11, okay, everybody moved over to plain talk. Because one of the problems that emergency services had in 9/11 is because the fire department had their code, the police department had their code, and the state police had their code. Nobody's codes meant the same thing, and they couldn't talk to each other, and they didn't know what each other was talking about. A 1050 for the city police could have been a car accident, and a 1050 for the state police could have been an explosion. So they moved away from 10 codes a long time ago. Back. Oh, God, it scared me. I talked. I'm going to shut it off. Back years ago. Anyway, so you're going to still hear 10-4. You're going to still hear a few 10 codes. They're easily looked up. It's public information. Not a big deal. Because there is sensitive things that they deal with. They deal with deaths of people. And, it is a public frequency. And, they don't want to be saying, hey, Joe Blow's down here dead, They're not going to say that. So they're going to have a code for that. He's going to be 10-100, or he's going to be, something. We have, subject is 10-100. Call, and they'll say, call and give a badge number, and it's probably the coroner. So, learn who these people are. Your county coroner is a public office. You vote them in. So know who these people are, okay? Oh, but if you're in the middle of a decent-sized city, you probably got a decent-sized police department. So they'll have a frequency, and like I said, you can get on that, and you can see what is happening in your city and where, and that may help you know where to go. If you're going to bug out, or if you've got to move to get a supply or water, and you hear on the radio that the north side of town is up in smoke, well, then you're not going to go there. So it's not necessarily that you're going to be talking on it stuff. It's to give you information about what is happening in your area. That's why you want one of these, okay? $25. 25 freaking bucks is all I paid for this thing. So, here's the deal. I make, gross. I live on about $21,000 a year. That's what I bring home and live on. $21,000 a year. Okay. And that ain't a whole lot of fucking money. At all. Oh, my county coroner's a hoot and a half. Love her to death. Love her. And what's great is she took the position over from her father-in-law, who was the coroner before her. And I worked with him as well, so that was pretty cool. And I can give you all kinds of dark humor jokes, but I won't, because not everybody does that. But when you work in the business I've been in so long, you get a dark sense of humor. But anyway, back to, you know what? This is not a Citizens Band radio. However, I think you can use a Citizens Band radio. This is listed as a mobile ham unit. It will connect to repeaters. And I don't know what the difference is with CBs. Now, I know a lot of ham operators. Well, when I was looking into getting an actual setup, I'm thinking I was looking at CB radios, to be honest, because they were very affordable and very doable. And they only needed like a smallish tower. So, yeah, if you've got a CB radio, my dad was a big CB person. And, I don't remember him having no damn freaking FCC license, but who knows? Oh, honey, if you're dealing with less than 21, you are, baby. God. Because 21, and over the winter, I've been the only one working. And there's been 4 people here. So yeah, it's freaking tough. It is freaking tough. But Papa's hopefully going to go back to work next week. Not next week, but the week after, 1st of March. So hopefully my waterman will be happy to keep my water on, because like the first 4 paychecks from Papa is going to the waterman. We've already decided it. Oh, a hand crank for CB radio or whatever. That's cool. Because, you know, that's what you got to think about. How are we going to power this thing? So, you know, you've got to think about how you're going to power it. But yeah, I mean, I'm living off of $21,000, less than $7,000 a year. Gee, God, how do you live? You are stellar, girlfriend. You should be sitting here doing this video, not me. You definitely know all the tips and tricks. Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely lived on less, no question. Yeah, but 21, man, it's like, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Anything below that is even tougher. And you support a family of 6 on that. Damn. That is crazy. Didn't you say your husband was a nurse? Is he not working? Yeah, you have no choice. And hopefully they help you. Because, see, that's the thing I don't get. Papa helps me when I ask him to help me. But, like, with the gardening and things like that, he's not going to do that. So I've got to find a way to do that where I can do that. Everything I build, everything I do, I've got to do in such a way that I can do that. Oh, is he disabled too? Oh, that sucks. That sucks. I feel for you. But I know you have the skills to survive. Definitely. Definitely. Do you can much? Melissa, do you can much? I tell you, another book that I have. There's those. Oh, he was looking at us, but now he's not looking at us. Is this one. This tells me all the plants and the medicinal uses. And it has 2 indexes. One index is by plant, and the other index is by remedy. And I have this one as well. Okay. And it also goes in, this one goes in even more. It's a little bit more modern than this one. But it goes into how to make tinctures and how to do, you know, do different things like that. And I have this. Now, this is a great book, especially if you're going to want to start canning. It's got some great recipes in it. I didn't buy it so much for the recipes, but I did buy it for the ideas. So yeah, and I actually did a video, I think on my Nana Preps page, that you could probably go to the videos and find where I reviewed that book. Well, see, there's no way I'm going to trust myself to remember everything. The older I get, the less I'm going to trust my memory. So I want this stuff hard, so I can access it, readily access it. So, you know, and Melissa, you're going to know about these things I'm getting ready to talk about. Don't forget, and I've done some TikToks on this, and I've done some videos on this, especially towards the end of the summer and into the fall, people give food away. Like sweet potatoes, squash, cucumbers, because they've got too much. Don't say no. Take that shit. Learn how to store it. Learn how to can it. Okay? Find out where the, and here's the bad thing nowadays, a lot of the food pantries are closed. They closed down during COVID, at least here. I don't think we have a food pantry anymore. Hey, how are you? You're joining us at the end. I'm actually not going to be on here much longer. Been on here for almost 2 hours, yakking my jaws. Well, I will give food away, especially if I know it's going to go to waste. There's only so much I can store. There's only so much I can. Okay. But I work in the courthouse, and I'm always going down to the first floor, and there will be a box full of squash, or a box full of cucumbers, or a box full of potatoes, or apples that has a thing on it that says free. And you can bet Anna's got a sack. I don't pass up with food. That is super. And it's even better because I can trade. I have eggs. That's one thing I have. I have eggs. So that gives me something I can go to and say, hey, I'll give you some eggs if I can get some potatoes, or if I can get some apples, or, being able to trade, being able to have something helps. But I try to keep, we are barely self-sustainable. If I was not able to go to the store starting tomorrow, if the stores blew up tomorrow, I have meat, I have eggs, I have enough food downstairs to get me through the growing season. I have seeds that I've saved from past plantings. I have fruit trees. I know where to resource things like elderberry, crab apple, other things that I may not have on my land. I could live. I could survive. And that's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. I think one of the big things that people freak out about when they talk about storing food is they think they're going to be eating 3 meals a day. You are not going to be eating 3 meals a day. Okay? You're not. You might get one giant meal and maybe a snack a day. And that meal is going to consist of, if you're lucky, 3 things. Like for us, I know that I have water, and I have rice, and I have chicken, and I have broth and veggies, so I can make various soups. I even have cheese canned downstairs. I can, make various things. But I will make, if I was not able, if I was tomorrow woke up and knew I had to live on what I have till I could start replacing it, I would do things like a big pot of rice with meat and broth, maybe a veggie, one veggie. I have fruit canned downstairs. However, I know that I have plants, wild plants on my property that are loaded with vitamin C. Pigweed grows everywhere, and it is healthier than spinach. Yeah. Your whole thing, your whole mindset about eating has to change once you are in this scenario. You're now, what do I need to be able to do the work I need to do later or tomorrow? So, and don't forget the coffee. And don't forget sugar. And don't forget those things, because those things make your day better when you're in a situation like that. And if you have kids, don't forget to, store some suckers, store some candy. That's going to make their day better. And it doesn't take any space, and you can store a ton of it, and your day will be better. Oh, my husband? Yeah. He would be, if we ever have to go through that, he is going to be so sad. Because he is Mr. 3 meals a day, meat and potatoes. So, yeah, me, I would probably be living that way now. I would never go to the store for me. I would go for things I can't do myself. And that would be milk and dairy products and beef and fish. That would be the only thing I would go to the store for. I could easily live off of what Barbie lives off of. Easily. I couldn't do 6 people. I don't know how you do that, girl. You're going to have to do a video about that shit, because I want to know. I got to know. But I could easily live, maybe even if the other person was willing to live that way, I would be off grid mostly now. Fish, jerky, chicken, yep. I've got pork canned downstairs. I did some TikToks about doing that. Yeah. You don't have to eat meat all the time. You can get your protein other places. Carbs is going to be your main thing, because you need energy to go out and forage and do the things that you're going to have to do. Stay warm, maybe. Build. Yeah. You got to think about your pets. I am eventually going to have rabbits for 2 reasons. For me, another meat source. That's a little different than poultry or game bird. Right now I've got game bird and I've got poultry. I'm going to have rabbits, but also because rabbits make great dog food. They make great dog food. Cheap. They breed like rabbits. Make great dog food. So you can keep that dog for security. Okay? If you got a little yapper dog, he's not going to do much for you. But if you've got that dog, but your little yapper dog will alert you, so he is not completely without use. But on wedding soup, already cooked and good with rice. Yep. But yeah, rabbits make good dog food, and they make good food for you, and the pelts are useful. Rabbits are super, super useful. Okay? And you can feed them. And here's the thing. That's what, and this is what you got to think about. Because this is why you need all the carbs. Because now you're looking at, how am I going to feed my rabbits through the winter? I can't go to the feed store. So I now have to cut hay and store grass and hay to feed my bunnies and my chickens over the winter. Chickens, though, can eat a lot of food scrap. But these are things you can do. And if you didn't work 40 hours a week, you could do it. If I didn't work 40 hours a week, I could do a hell of a lot more than I'm doing now. Because that's what my work would be. My work would be my living. And all of these animals I would have to maintain so that they are a resource to me. So people who are in apartments and things like that, my big suggestion to them is store what you can, where you can, starting with those main 3, and that's water, and that's food, hygiene, and medicine. Okay? Concentrate on that. Concentrate on keeping warm, keeping cool. But you need to meet people. You need to buddy with people. You need to have a place to bug out. You really do. You need to have a place to go because you will not be able to stay there. You will not. Especially if you're in the city. You're not going to be able to stay there. Get on Facebook and look up local prepper groups. Okay? There are people with compounds. And, you know, they will, if they approve of you, if you stand up to what they need, they will let you in. Okay? Now you have a place to go. Get out of the city. Yes. First thing, get out. Hopefully get out of the city before shit hits fan, which is why you need a radio. Well, honey, are you going to be shy or are you going to be hungry? What do you fucking care? Don't be shy. And no reason to be shy. Cities are going to be the places you don't want to be. You're going to want to get out of the city. But then eventually, once the city is you too shy, once the city burns to the ground, they're going to move out. And that's when people like me and Melissa and you, Nick, that live outside of the city, that's when we really got to start paying attention and having our shit together. But that's worst case scenario. You know, chances of that happening is pretty nil. Our main worry, and what I tell everybody who I'm trying to talk into helping themselves, is national emergencies like what's happening in Texas right now. The pandemic that happened a year ago. Things like that. That's right up there with the chances of it happening. It's there. So, you guys, I'm going to get off here. I so thank you for hanging out with me and listen to me rattle for 2 freaking hours. You are true friends. No question. No question. But do look back on my videos. There's some that I did some rants about, like when they passed House Bill 8 and things like that. Watch those too. I don't care. There's quite a few on there. I plan on doing more, especially once the spring comes and the season opens back up. I'm going to do more on raising poultry, things that I do on the cheap, the little tips and tricks that I do. Things can happen. You can keep 10 pheasant in that apartment, or not pheasant, quail. You can keep, Sarah, 10 quail in that apartment. I have a video. I kept 15 quail in my mud room back there in a space the size of what it was. This is these metal office shelves, and there's 4 of them, and they stack. And for less than $100, I bought the things I needed to make those battery cages. And when I first got my quail a couple of years ago, hey, Pepper Jackie, when I first got my quail a couple of hours ago, or a couple of years ago, that's where I kept them. Inside, in those quail cages. In my room. Quail cages. Now, I use the cages for brooders, and if somebody gets sick or something like that, I can keep them in there. I can bring them inside and keep them until they're well. So, convalescent cages is what, or brooder cages is what I use them for now. And though they will keep you in eggs, they will push eggs out like nobody's business. Nobody will know you have them, and they're inside. You can do it. There's things you can do. And if it's just you and your husband, I don't know how many people you've got, you probably get by on 5. Get you a male and some females. Yep. So it can be done. Bird poo is fantastic. Yes. Yes. She would be calling. She would take up that call of the quail rooster because they do. They do call their roosters. They're not horribly loud. And it's really kind of neat. You get used to it. Oh, see, there you go. You could probably get by on a male and 4 females have gobs of eggs. There you go. Animals in cages usually don't fall under the no-pet rule. So bird cages, fish aquariums. You can get a 55-gallon tank off a Craigslist for little nothing. Even if it's cracked, you can fix it pretty easy and get you a couple of tilapia or catfish. Keep them in there. I mean, it's an idea. Crawfish, something, perch, bluegills, whatever. Yeah, she'll definitely take that call on. But anyway, thanks so much, guys. I love you. Don't forget that how many eggs does one hen lay? Usually 1 egg a day, but I did have a couple that laid 2. With 15 quail, I had a good dozen a day. And I love boiling them because they're little quail eggs. They're great for salads. But it takes about 3 eggs to equal a large chicken egg. So they're definitely a supplement. Now, if you want to have eggs as a source of food, you're going to want chickens. But if you want eggs, and Papa smoked. I raise them. I will hatch eggs. You'll see those videos this spring when I get into egg hatching season. And I always get a bunch of roosters, too many. And I will dispatch them. They're super easy to dispatch. I dispatch them right at my kitchen sink. Done. Easy for me to do. And Papa smoked them, and oh my God, they were so good. And I'm gonna have some pheasant roosters that I'm gonna have to dispatch. I'm gonna wait till they get their feathers in because I want to harvest their feathers. Well, quail eggs probably wouldn't be very much for your dogs. Quail eggs are actually better for you than chicken eggs. In fact, people who are allergic to chicken eggs can oftentimes eat quail eggs. Yeah. Pickle them, smoke them. They're great. They are super great. And let me tell you, people buy chicks. I have people, they drive from Iowa during the freaking pandemic last year buying my chicks. Yeah, my quail chicks. What's hard is advertise them because Facebook having all their freaking animal standards. But, I got the word out all the same. And they came and I finally had to take them off the market so I could restock my own flock because they were buying them up as fast as I could put them out. So, definitely something to look into. Yeah, you want to know. All right, guys, I'm going to get off here. I love you all. I will see you. Hey, I'm not going to purge until Saturday this weekend. I don't know if anyone was on that live that I was on that I announced that, so I won't be going live on TikTok until Saturday. Probably at 7 o'clock. I'll post a video talking about it. And Sunday, I'll be on with my brother again on our podcast, and we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff, paranormal, conspiracy theories, what's going on. We'll probably talk about Texas some more and the twat rocket mayor that made his Facebook announcement. So, yeah, so you'll have to catch that. That'll be Sunday. So anyway, love you. Talk to you all later.